Okay. All right.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. So we'll read 12 ways of realizing me today. Okay. And still to figure out what's the long-term uh, alternative, but we'll start with 12 ways of realizing me today. Ashok?
Yes, Jai Baba.
Jai
I'm
Baba,
on.
Jai Baba. Go ahead.
Can you hear me
Yeah, go
clearly?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. 12 ways of realizing me. 1. Longing. If you experience that same longing and thirst for union with me as one who has been lying for days in the hot sun of the Sahara experiences longing for water, then you realize me. 2. Peace of mind. If you have the peace of a frozen lake, then too you will realize me. 3. Humility. If you have the humility of the earth, which can be molded into any shape, then you will know me. 4. Desperation. If you experience the desperation that causes a man to commit suicide and you feel that you cannot live without seeing me, then you will see me. 5. Faith. If you have the complete faith that Kalyan had for his master in believing it was night, although it was day, because his master said so, then you will know me. 6. Fidelity. If you have the fidelity that the breath has in giving you company, even without your constantly feeling it, till the end of your life, then both in happiness and in suffering, gives you company and never turns against you, then you will know me.
Ashok, the second slide is on.
Yes. Yeah. 7. And I'll request everybody else to mute. 7. Control through love. When your love for me drives away your lust for the things of the senses, then you realize me. 8. Selfless service. If you have the quality of selfless service unaffected by results, similar to that of the sun which serves the world by shining on all creation, on the grass in the field, on the birds in the air, on the beasts in the forest, on all mankind with its sinner and its saint, its rich and its poor, unconscious of their attitude towards it, then you will win me. 9. Renunciation. If you renounce for me everything physical, mental, and spiritual, then you have me. 10. Obedience. If your obedience is spontaneous, complete, and natural, as the light is to the eye or smell is to the nose, then you know me. 11. Surrender. If you surrender to me, if your surrender to me is as wholehearted as the one who, suffering from insomnia, surrenders to sudden sleep without fear of being lost, then you have me. 12. Love. If you have the love for me that St. Francis had for Jesus, then not only will you realize me, you will please me. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Great. Thank you. Jai Baba. So
Welcome.
we will today focus on reading. 1 second.
I have a question to the group. Sorry for interrupting.
Sure.
12 ways of realizing me. Is there a 13th way or must follow one of the 12? Sorry.
Good question. Good question.
If I may attempt to answer that.
Yeah.
Please go ahead. Yeah. I want to hear some variation to reading 12 as 12.
Baba has his own way of bringing people to his Daman. And if you find another way, if you reach him, that's it. There can be different ways to reach Baba based on your unique individual balance of sanskaras. So there are many ways in which Baba brings him in his Daman. most important thing is to
bringing in. It's realizing God. 12 ways of
Yeah,
realizing.
no. So first step is bringing, coming to his Dharma and then realizing God.
Of course, we are all in his Dhamma. We have to find the next destination, how to realize him.
So next destination, even God realization, it can be, as I think Kama says, different strokes for different folks. So it can be different.
I see. Okay, that's the answer. I understand.
Yeah, I think he himself. There are messages where there are as many paths, as many souls are there, right? So
True.
in that sense, I think these are 12 options, but then there's 13, 14, and 7 billionth or 80 billionth as well.
And then another question, can it be a combination of, say, 1 and 7, 7 and 12, 12 and 3, or 1, 3, 5?
Yes, of course. The very fact that there are different strokes for different folks or as many souls, as many types as many souls, means
Right.
that combinations are allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baba, I think if you read supplement 2, Practical Mysticism in God Speaks, supplement 2, I think it clearly demarcates what we have just discussed, as Karthik said. And I think in a very clinical approach, we know that the sanskaras are unique. So even when you take the head, heart, and hands, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, it is going to be definitely a permutation combination. So using your intuition, the heart and mind balance, you can develop your own template. For example, my template right now is that we are all actors. We are not the director, which we all know. And we have probably a pre-scripted life before we took this reincarnation in this body. And we also know, like in a typical business plan of material life, you make a projection, but the actuals are different. So we come with a business plan when we take up this body. And now we know when we are going through the 7 stages of life, 12 years, 12 into 784, that, we have gone through many different permutation combination in the way we actually visualized and what actually happened. So I think that Baba gives you that flexibility, definitely, because this is a game. I mean, it keeps repeating, it's a divine game. Don't take it so serious, We are already divine. We are in the image of a human being. 8 hours of sound sleep state, you are in absolute divine vacuum state, which is very clear from God speaks, but we are unconscious of it. So I think the challenge is in the 16 hours, So I think that you definitely can develop your own intuitive way of, applying all those 12 or make up your own, I think there is no issue on that. Jai Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba, that's what I was thinking. But then I got back to the question, why 12? Maybe these 12 are the basic 12 postulates, or like the 7 basic colors, and then you mix and match and make your own color.
Well, I think the beauty about Baba is these are all a framework. I think even when we read the Baba literature messages, we can't literally, translate something which becomes a general template for everybody. No, my own understanding, or what I call, we have a new acronym, IOU, interpretation, observation, understanding, is that we are changing constantly. Number one, our sanskaras are changing constantly based on our action of thoughts, words, and deeds. So I think that one of the beautiful things about Baba is that when you read the literature, he's communicating to you on a one-on-one basis. So even if you and Namita are reading together, the way you will be able to interpret it and absorb it or assimilate it is going to be different from hers. Of course, sometimes you will have an overlap and there will be similarity of mind and heart.
Right.
But my own understanding is that, everything is very dynamic, and this is just a framework. It is not like 2 + 1 is equal to MC square. No. Spirituality is a journey. It is the means itself is the journey. Whereas in material life, we know that the beginning and the ending are different. But in spiritual life, the whole journey is the essence of the spirit, whatever we are doing. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, come on, thank you, thanks, that helps. Raviji, any opinion on that? Any alternate view, or we all agree?
Yeah, I think Kama very well explained very well. See, Baba tells the same thing in a different ways. Avatars always do. Even in Bhagavad Gita, if you take the whole 1800 slokas in the Bhagavad Gita, sorry, 700 slokas in 18 chapters, there are very few ideas actually. Krishna repeats the same ideas again and again. And one time I was thinking, why Krishna repeats the same thing? The answer I got was, this is read by so many millions and millions of people. Not millions, maybe billions. Same person maybe reads thousands, because his sanskaras gets changed. He reads and he understands in a different way. We don't know which one we get attracted to which point. Any point that gets to us, that helps us to advance spiritually, that's what God wants, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Okay,
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, thank you very much.
On that note of repetition, I'm reminded of what Park talks about in the God Speaks. Right? He says there are three passes of the divine theme in God Speaks, and he actually breaks it down into how the same divine theme is explained thrice. Of course, the last one being the states of God, Erud's portion, and then there's he breaks it up with the chapters as well. So repetition, yes, repetition, but then as you said, probably it's to connect to different people, connect at different levels, and make an impact, and finally, as you said, push humanity. So on the same note of repetition, I will repeat yesterday's section, because it's very relevant to, I mean, it's important that we read this whole thing together. And I'll go back before that to something Mama also asked a question and said it's profound. So that's important. Where is the three stages, the three principles?
21.
Here it is, right? So it's basically three stages. So in the first stage, you just read it. In the second stage, the reading becomes less important, but then mentally you go over it because you already have kept it in your head, but the text still is somewhat relevant. In the third stage, you're basically internalized and actually made this. You're conceptually thinking about those things and meditating on that. That should be the attempt with section C. So section C is what we exist as souls for, right? And if we are able to read this, and then second stage, without having to read it, think through this whole process, and third stage, internalize and live. That's the that's the principle of meditation that's being talked about in this chapter. So with this thought in mind, I will read, and probably we will not stop anywhere, because it's the concept of the divine theme itself that's being talked about here. So if you have questions or feedback, hold them till we go to the end, and after that we'll anyway break for meditation, because I don't know how long this will take. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, Karthik, if I may just add for people who were asking questions yesterday, that page 2 of the God Speaks, there is a table which can be of, when we want to differentiate Sthul Sharir with Sukshma Sharir or Karan Sharir, maybe everybody knows, but that's something I refer to. The first chapter or the first part of God Speaks is what I refer to. Maybe I'm in the early stages or in the first steps, but I read that.
Ashok, may I say something, Ashok?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, and I exactly know the table you're talking about. But the question I had yesterday, I think I got an answer. I do meditation in the morning. Whenever I have a question, I pose this question to Baba. Sometimes Baba responds. And last night I posed the same question. Baba said it is the texture of the sanskaras. What is the texture of sanskaras? Uh, the sanskaras are three different types, right? Gross, subtle, and mental. It is like this, the coconut rope. Coconut rope is a rough rope. You know what I'm talking about? The coconut, the fiber rope.
Coil rope, yeah.
Yeah. It's very rough, right? It's very rough. That can be compared with the gross sanskaras. And ordinary thread, which is much more refined, can be compared with the subtle sanskaras. And hair, which is much more softer and thinner and softer, that can be compared. And because of these quality of the sanskaras, the tendencies change from one person to another type of person. That is the I got. But Ashok, thank you for helping us to follow that table. But yeah, the answer is different thing. Jai Baba.
Yeah, great. That was not to a specific question. I just made a common observation. That's about all. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Great. So let me get started. Section C, the divine truths for meditation through reading. The journey of the soul to the oversoul. Atma, or the soul, is in reality identical with Paramatma, or the oversoul, which is one, infinite, and eternal. The soul is in fact beyond the gross, subtle, and mental worlds, but it experiences itself as being limited owing to its identification with the sharir, sthula sharir or gross body, prana, sukshma sharir or subtle body, which is the vehicle of desires and vital forces, and the manas, karana sharir or mental body, which is the seat of the mind. The soul, in its transcendental state, is one, formless, eternal, and infinite, and yet identifies itself with the phenomenal world of forms, which are many and finite and destructible. This is Maya or cosmic illusion. Subtitle: States of Phenomenal World. The phenomenal world of finite objects is utterly illusory and false. It has three states: the gross, subtle, and the mental. Although all three of these states of the world are false, they represent different degrees of falseness. Thus, the gross world is farthest from the truth, God, the subtle world is nearer truth, and the mental world is nearest to the truth. All three states of the world owe their existence to cosmic illusion, which the soul has to transcend before it realizes the truth. Purpose of creation. The sole purpose of creation is for the soul to enjoy the infinite state of the oversoul consciously. Although the soul eternally exists in and with the oversoul in an inviolable unity, it cannot be conscious of this unity independent of creation, which is within the limitations of time. It must therefore evolve consciousness before it can realize its true status and nature as being identical with the infinite oversoul, which is one without a second. The evolution of consciousness requires the duality of subject and object, the center of consciousness and the environment, that is the world of forms. Cause of cosmic illusion. How does the soul get caught up in illusion? How did the formless, infinite, and eternal soul come to experience itself as having form and as being finite and destructible? How did Purusha, or the Supreme Spirit, come to think of itself as Prakriti, or the world of nature? In other words, what is the cause of the cosmic illusion in which the individualized soul finds itself? To realize the true status of the oversoul, which is one, indivisible, real, and infinite, the soul needs consciousness. The soul does get consciousness. However, this consciousness is not of God, but of the universe, not of the oversoul, but of its shadow, not of the one, but of many, not of the infinite, but of the finite, not of the eternal, but of the transitory. Thus, the soul, instead of realizing the oversoul, gets involved in cosmic illusion, and hence, though really infinite, it comes to experience itself as finite. In other words, when the soul develops consciousness, it does not become conscious of its own true nature, but of the phenomenal world, which is its own shadow. Evolution and degrees of consciousness. In order to become conscious of the phenomenal world, the soul must assume some form as its medium for experiencing the world. And the degree and kind of consciousness are determined by the nature of the form used as the medium. The soul first becomes conscious of the gross world through a gross form. The consciousness of the gross world that it has in the beginning is of the most partial and rudimentary type. Correspondingly, the soul assumes the most undeveloped form, that of stone. And then there's a reference to gaseous forms, which we saw. Next subtitle is Driving Force of Evolution. The driving force of evolution consists in the momentum consciousness receives owing to the conservation of the impressions, sanskaras, left by diverse desires or conditions. Thus, the sanskaras cultivated in a particular form have to be worked out and fulfilled through the medium of a higher form and a correspondingly more developed consciousness of the gross world. The soul, therefore, has to assume higher and higher forms like metal, vegetable, worm, fish, bird, and animal, until, as last, it assumes a human form, in which it has fully developed consciousness in all the aspects of knowing, feeling, and willing of the gross world. The manner in, yeah.
Let's spend some time here in the previous paragraph you just read. The momentum.
Okay.
So is the momentum caused by the drive of the impressions, right? The sanskaras drive the momentum.
No, the evolution is driven by the fact that samskaras need newer and newer and more sophisticated forms to have expression. Right.
But what
So
drives it?
evolution of form is driven by the need for the conscious realization of the soul. So the core purpose
drives the momentum.
It's not consciousness driving the momentum. So it's basically that each time I experience a sanskara, the sanskara is retained and also added to in a way where I need a more sophisticated form to express it. So I move on to the next form. But what is driving that is the overall latent purpose of me having to realize myself consciously. That's the teleological purpose. The samskaras act as what's the word for that? I don't know. But basically, Kama, you're on mic is unmuted. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, Jai Baba, I think that you have to remember that the vim, who am I, is the first impression of sanskara, okay, a fundamental impression. Yeah. So that impression of the vim, who am I, simultaneously produced a consciousness, okay? And the consciousness to experience the vim has to take a form. So there is a certain kind of a linear approach, but actually, according to God speaks, the vim, which is the impression, the most fundamental impression, rudimentary impression, is the who am I whim simultaneously generates consciousness, and that drives to have a form. So what to answer question of Ravi is that yes, sanskaras are the ones that drive the momentum of consciousness to take up different forms, basically. Hey, Baba.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good
you.
word, right? Momentum. They provide the momentum and push for one form to the other, which is evolution.
Yeah, once you have the sanskaras, they need to be spent. Only thing is, we don't go in the right direction. We get the false, we pick up the false sanskaras. That's why we keep on going, collecting and spending until the last moment, final
Yeah.
journey, until the final journey.
Hey,
So,
Baba. But
Jai Baba.
the divine game is
yeah, come.
such that the impressions have to go through the duality of illusion. There is no other way. Okay, because up till the human stage, you don't have free will or power of choice, because we understand that first consciousness has to become full and complete, and that happens only in the human state.
Human state.
So from the time of the whim, the Big Bang, right up to the human form, first human form, evolution of consciousness is automatic. It is like before artificial intelligence came, as an analogy. You program it, so it is pre-programmed. But then after you reach the human state, the consciousness is in full and complete, which is what you need first. But the consciousness is contaminated with sanskaras, which we are now trying to dissolve. And this is a very crude way of looking at the whole process of this whole divine game. Jai Baba.
Crude or real,
Uh,
whatever, but that's the way. Yeah, Soma, go ahead.
yeah,
Namita
Jai
was
Baba.
saying,
So,
was it Namita who was saying something? Or?
No, it was
No?
Soma.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Jai Baba, so just one question that we do speak about the Big Bang or the first whim, who am I? So, at that point of time, was human beings also created or human beings appeared later?
Human beings absolutely appeared later, right? That's the whole concept of evolution of form. So at the stage of the most original whim, the most rudimentary form of consciousness was made available through the gaseous forms, right? And
Okay.
then the form evolution takes place, which is of course acknowledged by science, and we have Origin of Species written by Darwin, all of that, right? So that's just form. But consciousness does not peak till you get to the human form, which itself took a few billion years. And from the human form, your ability to realize is reached. Till then, you're only pushing for that. Each evolutionary leap with the momentum of samskaras is to move to better and better consciousness. And of course, in the process, experience and exhaust samskaras.
So, we
Does
talk
that?
about
Yeah, go ahead.
50 crore, we speak about 50 crore births in the first whim, right? So,
Yes.
not all of us were souls who have been there since the first one. Is that right? More souls were
Uh,
created later who went
No.
through the process of evolution.
no, no, no,
No.
no, no. So numerically speaking, 50 crores includes you take 84 lakh human
As
births
human. Yes.
potentially, and 50 crore
Yeah.
overall. And
Yeah.
the number has to be understood at a cosmic scale, right? So stones, metal, birds, animals, all those forms have individualized expressions of this are individualized expressions of the soul, and they make their individual evolutionary journey. Some of them reach the human form, which is I don't even know how to get a number, because it's the sum of all human beings that ever walked on the earth, right? Not 7 billion. 7 billion is a point in time. Over the billions of years, the overall human souls that took birth are making up that number. So everybody has to go through the evolution process, is the point that probably I need to answer your question. But does that make sense?
Yes, right. Even now you have stones, mountains, birds, fishes, everything. So these souls are newer souls that have been born later, or souls that have not progressed to the human form yet.
Aha, I would say they are just newer souls. That's a question. They're newer souls.
They're newer souls.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jai
Yeah.
Baba.
What I heard from somewhere, I don't remember where I heard from, but every time the avatar comes, he creates new souls. This is what I heard. I never read anywhere, but I heard. I don't remember who said that, but this fact I heard that whenever the avatar comes, one of the avataric duty is to create new souls. What does it mean? I don't know. Does he create new gaseous states or stones or new human being? I don't know. I think human beings comes only after evolution, but I was thinking maybe new gaseous forms. Not sure. Yeah,
Hold on. So it's
And
not just as a point of clarity. It's new instances, but not new types. So the new souls that I answered Soma's question is new instances of stones, not new types of stones, right? That also happens as part of natural
no,
evolution.
stone. A stone can be a dead stone or a stone with a soul, right?
Oh, okay. I'm not aware of
Let's
that.
take
No. Sorry. No,
chair.
that's not.
Let's take a chair. Chair we have, a
Yeah.
wooden chair we have. What is that? Does it have a soul? It's a tree. It came out of tree, right? A wooden chair is made out of wood. Wood is taken of falling the tree, and the chair. I mean, wood is cut to a shape of chair, and there's no soul there. It's just a soul. Chair, dead soul. Dead wood.
Can I just add?
That's
Ravi,
incorrect. That's incorrect. I think that
Ravi,
you have
can
to
I add?
understand that. Okay, one second.
One at a time, guys,
Just to-
folks, one at a time. So the point Ravi's making is there's dead and not, souls that are alive. So Kama has something to say to that. Then we'll go to Ashok.
See, we are looking at animate and inanimate objects. Okay. If my understanding is correct, animate means something that can reproduce. Inanimate is something like a rock or stone, which is the way it is. So let me try to answer different questions. What Soma was saying about are there new souls coming or whatever. So if I look at the ocean, you know that seasonally we have the monsoon. So water is getting evaporated, becomes clouds and becomes rainfall. So we can look at it that way in terms of how new souls are being born, new drop souls. Number two is Baba has talked about, if you look at the dogs, now human beings have crossbred dogs and come up with different variations. Like I used to have two Himalayan cats. Now the Himalayan cat is just a name, but it's actually a cross between a Siamese and there's another famous one, which I forget the name. So what is happening is that the soul, it's not just the soul, it is the consciousness of the soul. Technical way of putting it is the consciousness of the soul is taking different forms. So in fact, we know that through crossbreeding and all that, these species were not there. In fact, in God Speaks, Baba talks about how there are certain tipping points. Like for example, the way dinosaurs, have died, but that doesn't mean that consciousness or the soul of the dinosaur, or that particular consciousness which took the role of the dinosaur is still around in a different form. Maybe we were dinosaurs, we don't know. So the point here is, if you look at the conservation of matter and energy, that nothing is created nor destroyed, they only change form. So coming back to wood or rock, if you go deep into the wood or rock, it is basically a permutation combination of different elements. And in the periodic table, we know hydrogen, helium, these are basically, different types of solid, gas, liquid, elements. And if you go deep down into the subatomic particles, which are changing constantly, so these are also particles which can be related to the seven gaseous particles that Baba talks about. So absolutely everything, animate, inanimate object has basically a kind of a soul, but it's the consciousness which is actually going through the whole process here. Yeah, Baba.
Okay, but you didn't answer the question. Does chair has a soul or no?
No. Chair has a soul. You're asking the wrong question. The chair has consciousness. When you have consciousness, there is a soul. Everything has soul. Formless, form. Absolutely. God is everywhere. And this whole business of creation itself is a imagination. It has come out of nothing. So definitely everything is a drop soul. We might not able to define it in the way because of our limited mind, because the limited mind is only focused on the gross world. The gross sphere of existence, as Baba said, is nothing compared to the subtle world or the mental world. So everything has soul. That is my way of looking at it. Yes, it might look dead
Conceptually, I
because
buy
of
that.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish.
No. What was
I
your,
don't know.
what
I
was
don't
your,
know, Kama. I don't agree with you. But let's say a
But
human
tell me,
being,
is wood a
a human
combination of
being,
different elements?
hang on.
No, one second. Let's go to the physics of it. Wood is a combination of different elements.
Okay, let me say something. A human
That's the
being
comma.
has a
Everything can
soul,
be
okay?
put into atoms. Yeah.
Okay, let's say human being. A live person has a soul. The death means death of the body. That means soul leaves the body, and then body remains, and all the body parts, all the water and other things, they burn away. They exhaust into five elements. What remains is the skeleton. Skeleton doesn't decompose. It stays forever, millions of years. It stays back. So do you say that soul is still there in the skeleton? No, it is dead. It's
Well,
not there. There's no consciousness in the dead skeleton.
you can say consciousness. Yes.
There's no consciousness in the skeleton. Yeah, God is there. If I say God is everywhere, there's no place that God is not there. But the evolution of consciousness, is it there in the skeleton or not?
There's a difference between consciousness and soul.
Consciousness is the soul. When the soul is there, the consciousness is there. All the mental body is gross body. We're talking about gross body, matter here. What is the matter? Matter can have a soul or no soul. That's what we are talking about, which is objective world. What is this objective world we are talking about? Either certain things have soul or dead. Those are the two things, as far as my understanding is concerned.
So
The
would you say
skeleton,
subatomic particles don't have souls?
I don't know that. I don't know. I didn't say that. But for example, skeleton, I'm assuming it is a dead thing. There's no growth, nothing. It's dead
No, but
forever.
there is nothing
Stays
like
for
that.
millions of years.
There is nothing like that. Death is, if you look just from the gross
No
form,
activity,
there is death.
No, skeleton has no activity, no growth, nothing. It stays there like that forever. Right? If the consciousness is there, then there is some activity. Even stones have activity. They grow.
This is
Stones,
pretty
mountains
interesting.
grow.
Others,
Geologically,
How
what
can
do
you
the
say
others think?
stones grow? No, I don't know
geologically, it
how
is
stones grow.
proven mountains grow. It is proven. Geological, if you look at the geology of it, mountains, rocks, they all grow. But It's beyond our conception.
That is plate tectonic, sir. No. How can a stone move itself? You're talking about forces, not stones. There are other forces,
I'm not
that
talking about
makes.
forces. I'm talking about the growth of a stone. The stone grows.
I've
Maybe
never
in
heard the
1
growth of
million
the
years,
stone.
maybe it grows like 1 millimeter, which
The
is beyond
Himalayas are
our.
growing 4 centimeters every year. What does that mean? Does
What
it
is
have
it?
to do with the stone? The Himalayan mountains, they are growing 4 centimeters every year.
May I interject? We are talking
Yep.
about the growth of stones. On the other hand, the stones are actually broken into pieces to be used for many construction activities, etc. So when a stone is broken, presuming that the stone has a soul, does the soul subdivide and become multiple, or the soul dies and moves into or progresses?
You're making it more complicated for our.
Yes.
Yes.
That is a question. Yes, that is a question
That
actually
is the
even
real
Rajesh asked
question
once.
here.
Yeah, to me, it is up to the forms that are like tree, animals, worms, which are distinct and individualized. Before that, it is just the association of consciousness to the forms. Actually, even if you take metals is also pulverized and you're made into small balls which go into ball bearings. So something like that, if we imagine that every ball has a different soul. So I think it is more of association of consciousness with these forms rather than individualized physical forms of them. Actually, like pebbles, the big rock is broken into small pebbles, so that doesn't multiply the soul to that extent. It's just the
But well,
association of souls. That's my understanding
consciousness,
actually. Because when it becomes
consciousness,
animal, yeah, when it becomes different animals, they are individualized actually, because they have different souls. Yes, but metals
but
and stones, I think it is association with the forms. That's my
so con-
understanding. Yeah,
so a consciousness is connected to a soul. So first there has to be a soul, and then the soul has consciousness, right? Not vice
yeah.
versa.
No, consciousness, the soul is God. Consciousness is ignorant part of the God.
Also, Baba has said that there are 18,000 planets in which we have human lives. And in those planets, individuals or the humans have 90 or 100% intelligence, whereas on Earth it is 50% intelligence and 50 to 60% emotions. So these souls want or desire to be born on Earth, where we have the 5 perfect masters to get God realization. So when they move to Earth, how do they move? As human beings, or they start again from this very basic of gaseous forms and stones, etc. Any answer to that?
Sorry, what was your question again, please?
Okay. Now, Baba has, sorry if I'm not, am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
clear audio.
So Baba has mentioned that there are 18,000 planets in which there are lives, correct? There are human beings. Now, in these human beings, they have intelligence, which is 80 to 90%, and no emotions. It's only on Earth that we have 50% intelligence and 50-60% emotions. Correct. So now, only on Earth also we have the 5 perfect masters. So these souls want to be born on Earth in order to get God realization. They desire to be born on Earth. So when they come to Earth as a new soul, do they come in human form, or do they have to also go through the entire process of evolution from the stone to the human
No,
state?
once you are came up to this level of human being, as Baba said, you will remain as a human being. You may go laterally, but yeah, only at one instance, at the fourth plane, you may go back to stone. But apart from that, you will remain to be human, whether you are in this planet or some other planet.
Thank you. Jai
Okay.
Baba.
I saw Sunil share something, so I think he wants to say something. Sunil?
No, I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to show that chart to add to the discussion. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So I think
That was. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, I think this has been an interesting conversation, but I do not think in any way conclusive because I don't know, at least in my head, there's still a lot of questions lingering. What happens to stones, trees? What is the definition of consciousness? What is the definition of soul in the context of these, especially inanimate objects and in their various subforms that subforms are rather human action or natural action that causes breakages of these smaller forms, especially inanimate. Animate, I think we are all able to relate to, but even there, the skeleton example is something interesting. So I think I don't have a clear understanding of this at this time. Ashok, you came in at some time to say something.
Yeah. I,
See.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to add, I actually wanted to add, I'm just going through the, I just wanted to highlight that in the God Speaks, again, they mentioned about different species of, different species in the same category. That was all I wanted to say. And about the other questions which are raised about other cosmic worlds and all, I think it's an area of research and we don't have enough data, information, or conclusive evidence. So of course it's good to go from the unknown to the known, but there are a lot of unanswered questions for which we require more research. It's an areas of research. I don't think maybe I don't know about it, but it's something which is really unknown. At least to the
Actually,
body of
Ashok, I don't think it's a research or anything. It's as simple as if Baba said it, we take it for granted. That's about it. If Baba didn't say, then no matter how do we know? We are limited. We don't know all these things. We are very much limited.
That's exactly what I'm trying
Yeah.
to point
That's
out.
where my head is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baba,
That's where my
I
head is.
think,
Yeah.
you
Go
know,
ahead,
once
Kamal.
again, there is in beams, as we know, is an extension to God Speaks. If you read the chapter on advancing life stream, page number 20, I think that would be a way to have interesting interpretation, because even if Baba said something, the question is, are we able to interpret it correctly? That is the key question. So I've seen, of course, in the BBC Club, a lot of people interpreting the same message of Baba in different ways. But the point of the matter is there is no difference between the soul and the oversoul. I think I take the point of Ravi, what he says. I believe that are we, like we saying that are all forms souls? Actually, I think he has a point there. I was contemplating on that. What we really are doing is the consciousness basically is taking different forms. Now, the form, does it have a soul by itself? That is the point here. So I think that technically everything is coming from the oversoul. And in God Speaks, Baba says every drop soul technically is part of a subset of the oversoul. The oversoul has consciousness, as we know, the state 2A, infinite unconsciousness. All the different drop souls who want to go through this process of who am I, the most fundamental impression, start taking different forms and start having different experiences which create impressions. And these impressions, sanskaras, are driving the consciousness to take different forms. So let's look at us. All of us are part of the human civilization. We all have human consciousness, but we have different forms. We call it the human form, the human being. But technically, each one of us has a unique sanskara or impression, correct? So I think if we separate the skin from the consciousness, because as we know, when the human being dies, the so-called death, which is the dropping of the gross body, only the gross form, as Ravi says, the 5 elements, the earth, water, air, fire, space, whatever the 5 elements, Panchabhuta, they go back. Now, the question, I think what I understand now, what Ravi was asking, does it have a soul? Like, that's a good question. I'll have to think about that. But definitely what is happening out here is that when we are talking about soul, the soul doesn't need anything. It exists by itself. It is the consciousness which has to go through this whole process of the illusionary world, phenomenal world of duality of forms. We have to go through this whole evolution of consciousness, the evolution of forms. And then we know that once you are a human being, you don't need any form, correct? So that is why we go through reincarnation, which is a form of recycling, spending samskaras. And then we start going into the involution process where the gross sanskaras have become subtle sanskaras have become mental sanskaras, and ultimately sanskaras become zero. So we are going back to the original, the drop soul before it became, had that whim. So, so I think, I don't know whether I made sense, but I think when we take form separately, definitely we can't think about the soul unless we're talking about the consciousness of the soul. Because who comes first? Actually, it is the impression, sanskaric impression, and with the sanskaric impression comes consciousness, and both of them together take a form to experience, and then go through the whole zero sum game. Jai Baba.
Okay, to summarize, I think we're still not having a very good, clear idea, and it's a thought exercise that all of us can indulge in on the nature of the soul in inanimate objects, especially, and whether it is soul or whether it is consciousness. But I think it's worthy of being revisited and discussed later, because it's a thought exercise all of us can indulge in, including Kama and Ravi and Soma, and then we come back and discuss this. Soma, you're saying something.
Yeah. So we were speaking about the skeleton, that the consciousness, the soul is still there in the skeleton as a soul. Is that right? That's what Ravi said. Now, we all have one soul, right? There are no two souls in the same body. There's only one soul. So if this one soul leaves the body, as we say, even during deep sleep every night, we go and are one with the oversoul. So when we die, we leave the body for good. So then if you say the skeleton has a soul, then even our hair has a soul, or the teeth has a soul, because these are body parts that never disintegrates. So then we talk about multiple souls in the same body.
Yes,
Jai Baba.
Human
Yes,
being,
sir.
I think you're right, Soma. Humans have only one soul. But Baba explained where did he explain? For example, in the grass, multiple souls may be connected with the lawn grass, multiple souls may be connected with the same lawn. Or if some creeper is there, you just pinch a creeper and plant it again. So what happens to a soul there? Mamaji questioned this one time. So it's very complicated there. It's beyond our understanding how it happens, what happens.
Thank you, Ravi.
Can I come with a few more questions or summarize all the questions here?
Now come up with a few more
Please.
questions.
Yes, as Soma brought up the issue, there are multiple shades to this. One is, the first thing is, with the Big Bang, are all the souls available everywhere in the cosmos, created at once, and they remain the same number unless they get realized. And once they realize, they reach the abode of the oversoul and rest there. All others are struggling to go through the involution process. So that is one question. Or as Ravi put it across, uh, new souls are being prepared and sent in by Baba. That I want the reference. I don't understand that concept. New souls being prepared and then say sent in to go through the whole struggle and then get realized. So one aspect is the number of souls remain the same. Only thing is how many are realized. This concept answers with Mahapralaya, where everything dissolves and then reappears. That means souls available are in such huge number that realization happens to all of them takes a say a trillion, million, trillion age for them to go through this process and get realized. So there will be always this struggle to get realized, and only minuscule get realized and they stay with the oversoul. So that is one aspect. The other one is after the body is dropped, if you go back to the elements of the body, is there soul in that? That is the question. Say either it is wood or human body, it is the same. As long as it is a tree living, there is single soul in that tree. So once the tree is dead, that wood goes into so many chairs or so many tables or so many other articles. So each one cannot have a soul as we scientifically think of that. So once the say a tree is dead, that soul is released from the tree, and rest is the gross body. As when we die, our gross body goes into the five elements. But coming to the point of existence, and each metal or each gas, they seem to have soul beings, then there is a clash. How do we interlink these things and gel them and then understand? So these are finer questions. Let us all think over that. Try to find references and try to understand. So, but newer souls being created, it's a news to me. I would like to have some reference to understand that. Jai Baba.
Good
You know,
question,
but
Mamaji.
Doc Mama, can you put all those questions down in the Telegram so that
I
we can
just
all
did.
ponder on it? Yeah,
Uh,
good.
Yes,
those
yes,
are
I
I
will
beautiful
just
try
did.
to do
questions,
that. I will try to do
Mamaji.
that.
But
Ah,
your
Uh,
questions made me come up with some other questions. But your first question, all souls created at the same time. All the drops are created at the same time. When the wave was created, when the wave happened, as explained by Baba in the God Speaks, all the bubbles are created, right? So when the bubbles hang in the space for some time, and then when they drop into the ocean, they become one with the ocean. So all these souls were created some billions and billions of years ago. And as far as I understand, all these up to the human being is an automated process. They don't have any choice. A tree doesn't have any choice. They create sanskaras, and then they grow, die, and they take up another species. They grow and die. They go on collecting sanskaras, and it's an automated process. Only in the human being, since we have the choice given to us, since we create these artificial sanskaras, there is a possibility that I might be going for hundreds of lifetimes without getting God realization. But there is a point, Baba, as Baba said, 80, 87 lakhs of lives. Whatever you do after 87 lakhs of time, you are automatically getting God realization. So when all these souls were born billions of years ago, by this time, everything should have, the shop would have been closed. Everything should have gotten God realization by now. But that is not happening. Still, all the insects exist, all the trees exist, all the birds exist, everything exists. So that makes me think probably new souls are created. That is my inference from what you're saying.
no,
Jay
it's
Baba,
not.
those are
Then
my thoughts.
it is an individual inference, not a message from Baba.
No, no, no. This is my inference. My
Yes, yes.
inference only. Yeah.
Because then you are trying to state that the time elapsed, you have a scale of that time elapsed, should have cleared all these different souls.
Yeah. right? All
Either
these
by
dinosaurs were
automatic
there.
realization, automatic, say, reaching the moksha state, or by realization, they should have, none of us should have existed by now.
Correct, correct.
So, I don't to subscribe to that view. It's difficult to understand like that. And one more question, what Soma brought in was, say, with all this progress, there are a lot of stones as they are when they came up, and then still they are stones. And there are so many species which are still begetting their own offsprings, and this cycle is going on. But what we have to understand here is, once a tiger dies, the soul in the tiger, what happens to that soul? That is different from a tiger begetting a tiger. That is different. So, so the soul in the tiger after the death of the tiger may go to another species depending on its consciousness, development of its consciousness. So this is slightly away from biology, but we have to understand this. So that is the only way for evolution. So this process of evolution, as in science, is different from the process of say the growth of the development of the soul. So with all the animals available, with all the say vegetation available, this progress of the, say, the movement of the soul from each species to the other species still is happening at the level of the soul. We cannot identify and spot and say this is what has happened. This particular tiger has become another animal, and that particular animal has become a chimpanzee, or that particular chimpanzee has become a man. We may not be able to identify and spot it, but this progress in the knowledge or the consciousness of the soul of these animals keeps happening, and then they are becoming human, and then they go through the reincarnation, everything. That is what I presume from all this, say, assimilation of knowledge I have acquired till now. Jai
But
Baba.
even in the other
Okay,
animal
I'm
species, all
tempted
these species
to let all
also.
of you continue. Sorry, hold on. I'm tempted to let all of you continue, but if we want to do the meditation today, we should at least give half an hour to that
Sure.
activity.
Yeah.
So
We'll
I know it's
continue
a
this
very,
discussion tomorrow.
Okay.
I
We
think,
might get some answers during meditation.
Yes.
absolutely. In fact,
So I hope I have
Baba,
given some thought for Soma to think further on her.
I'm going to shoot one more question, take 20 seconds, and we can discuss that later. This is the concept of soul dualism. I have asked this question in terms of Baba says in God Speaks that there are 7,000 souls in the spiritual hierarchy. Okay, now, so these 7,000 souls we assume are spiritual workers. Now, if you're a spiritual worker, it means you are healing people in different places, those who need healing, right? So now, if you are a single soul, the soul cannot leave the body. So is it that it's a concept of soul dualism, where you have two souls and where one soul is healing, the other soul is in the body? Or as somebody else gave me the example, that it's like effervescence, like when you open a bottle of Coca-Cola, the effervescence comes out. So the soul is like that. So it can go do its work and then come back. A part of it still remains. I would like this answer in the next class. Jai Baba. Sorry. Yes,
I'm not
stupid
even sure
questions.
I'm getting your question correctly. So I just put soul dualism. I understood that much. That probably there are
Yes.
two expressions of a soul. Uh,
Yeah.
but I've just put. I don't know if you're seeing the chat. I've just put all the 7 threads. Maybe in my own words, I might have missed something as well. But we'll pick this up probably in the next week. In fact, I
Thank
have
you
a
so
question.
much.
I had a question, but we are parking that, so we'll pick it up next week. In fact, this is exactly why I do not want to stop this reading this time, but it has been absolutely worth the interruption, and I think it has opened a lot of provocative questions.
There is
But
a hand
let's.
raised by Sanjay for a long time.
I think he came in. He came in and mentioned the Rajesh point as well as Sanjay. Is that what it is, or you still have something to add?
No. I think we discussed actually. I
You
dropped
came
my
in.
hand.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I remember. All right. Cool. So I think let's split to. Stop the reading for a bit and hand over to Nomita for her to conduct the guided meditation. Videos on and the usual rules. Let her drive the show. Yeah. Over to you, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I didn't see everybody.
Karthik, your
If you stop
slide
sharing,
still is.
Karthik.
What's that, Mama?
If you stop sharing.
Okay. The central visibility is okay. Now people are coming in.
Okay, I'll stop sharing first. Yeah.
Jai Baba. I have a bunch of agitated minds. I don't know where to begin.
I'm telling you.
You have to calm them down. You have to calm them down.
It's good. Spiritual agitation. That's good.
I didn't know I will have this door to play with. Karthik, how do I see everyone first?
Are you seeing me now?
I see Mamaji and Ashokji.
If everybody switches on their video, you can see them.
Okay, they have to switch on, no? Because I have to calm them before we enter something.
Yes.
Jai Baba.
Okay, it's just Soma. Yeah, she switched on as well. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'll go one by one to everybody and then we'll start. Mamaji,
Yes.
can I request you to drop all your questions?
Yes,
And
I have dropped.
say I drop all my questions in Baba's divine feet. At
Yes.
Baba.
Yes,
No, you
I
say
drop all my questions
in Baba's divine feet.
in Baba's divine feet.
Ashokji,
Haji.
I drop all my questions to Baba.
I drop all my questions to Baba. Hey, Baba.
Karthik ji,
I, as always, drop all my questions to Baba.
Ravi ji,
My mind is always blank. Jai Baba, no questions.
Sanjay ji, Sunil,
Jai Baba. Everything to Baba. Mind, body, soul.
Soma ji,
I drop everything at the feet of Baba.
now we'll all close our eyes.
I'm going to stop recording here because we get a copyright violation every time we upload to YouTube when we play recordings. Okay, so I'll just stop here. It's just a personal
I'm
experience for all
using
of us.
royalty-free music, but it's okay. Yes, you can drop.
Oh,
close.
if you are, then it's fine. Then let's.
I mean,
let
I
it
look
stop.
for royalty-free, so I don't know.
Okay, let's try it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Dear beautiful Baba, dear divine Baba, all pervading, all light, Divine Baba. You are the light within me. You alone exist. Baba, you are in the living things. You are in the things which were once living. You are in the souls who have merged with you. You are in the souls who are coming towards you. You are in the good. You are in the bad. You are in light. You are in the darkness. You are in my beautiful heart. You are in your magnetism. You are in my beautiful eyes. You are in my fluttering thoughts. You are in my tears. You are in my joy. You are in my suffering. You are in the beautiful trees. You are in the beautiful flowing rivers. You are on the mountains, in the mountains, on the snow-covered peaks. You are in the clouds. You are in the moon. You are in the stars. You are in the planets. You are in the sun. You are in the sunshine. You are in the colors. You are in the air. You are on the earth, in the beautiful sky. You are in my thought, and you are in my thoughtlessness. You are in my kindness and in my submission. Baba, you alone exist. You are in the knowledge. You are in the knowing and in the ignorance. You are in my success. You are in my failures. You are in my joy and you are in my sorrow. You are in my friends and relatives. You are in my children. You are in the paths they take, the lives they lead, the direction you take them. You are in the illness and you are in health. You are in the glory and you are in defeat. You are in this body, the current abode, temple of your residence within me. You are in my breath. You are in my eyes. You are in the visions that I see through these eyes. You are in the melody of the music I hear. You are the song. You are the words. You are the emotions in a couplet. You are the trance in my mind. You are the magnetism I feel. You are the love in my heart. Baba, I am grateful for this body in which I feel your divine presence. Baba, I am grateful for the breath which has been my companion since you gave me this body. Baba, I am grateful for all the love I feel from my near and dear ones in the beautiful heart where you reside. I am grateful for your presence when I face challenges I have no answers for. Baba, I am grateful for your presence in my heart, in my thought, in my being, in my existence. I am grateful for what I have. I am grateful for the food I eat. I am grateful for the beautiful souls who surround me. I am grateful for the heart where I can feel, empathize with those in pain. Dear Baba, I feel your presence always, every time. I submit my inadequacies, my questions, my inability to accept situations in your divine feet. I am grateful for these hands which hold on to your beautiful Daman, Baba, knowing that you alone exist. My gratitude for my inability to understand words. My gratitude for feeling you in my being all the time. My gratitude, Baba, for the many cycles of life, bringing me closer, closer, and closer to the shining light, which is with me always. Thank you, Baba, for polishing this gold and shining through me. Thank you, Baba, for making me aware of the shortcomings and showing me the way to overcome them. Thank you, Baba, for showing me the way to things that need improvement. Thank you for the peace that your thought and your being has bestowed upon me in this body. In your divine grace, in your divine mercy, Baba, I submit my greed for things, my lust, and my anger. Allow me to improve so that one day, Baba, I become worthy of being one with you. I thank you for all the knowledge, Baba, for all the words that you have left for us. I thank you for this beautiful Baba family who are walking through the river of life together, holding hands, feeling your presence in our hearts, united in purpose of being your true Baba lovers. Baba, thank you, Baba, for the peace. Thank you, Baba, for the love. Thank you for choosing us to be your lovers. all paths, all roads, all directions go to you, Baba. You are all the questions, you are all the answers. You alone exist. Thank you, Baba, for coming to this earth in your magnificent, beautiful body. Your magnetism is unparalleled, Baba. The joy of your beautiful eyes, your curly hair, your naughty smile, and that shine in the eyes. Is unparalleled. Baba, allow us to be in total submission to you, knowing that you are all forgiving, the highest of the high, and our dearest Father, knowing that everything that bothers us, everything that hinders us in coming closer and closer to you, you will take care of that, Baba. Thank you for shining the beautiful divine light of your love in our hearts, which is our destination and the goal. There's nowhere to go, Baba. There's no one to seek. There is nothing to ask for. With you, dearest Baba, we are home. With you, dearest divine Avatar Meher Baba, we are home. With you, dearest divine Meher Baba, we are one. You reside in each one of us. You alone exist. Allow us in the game of sanskaras to arrive at a destination where you alone exist. Baba, the divine creator, you are Krishna to some of us, you are Jesus to the others, you are Buddha to some others. But the name and the game is pure love. In your divine mercy, Baba, in your divine will, we submit. In your divine mercy, Baba, and in your divine will, we submit. In your divine mercy and in your divine will, there is divine light, the universal consciousness, we submit. Thank you for visiting us on earth in the form of Avatar Meher Baba and showing us the light. I can feel your presence, Baba, all the time, because there is power. You alone exist. I feel like a calm lake. Still, serene, at peace. I submit to you, my dearest Baba. I submit to you, dearest Baba. Help us all, your lovers, your chosen ones, to cross the rivers of samsara and walk right within where you reside, Baba. The formless divine energy, which is all pervading everywhere, in everything, in everybody. Baba, with you and me, I can embrace the sun, the moon, the stars, just with a thought. I can breathe, I can drink the water from a spring far, far away in the mountains, just by a thought. I can taste the fruits, the juicy apples, just by a thought. All emotions are felt in my heart, Baba. All joys, all failures, all triumphs are all inside me, Baba. Help me to even out things that no longer serve me. Help me to trust you more and more so that things, the value systems, things that don't go my way, I'm able to accept them, knowing that Baba will take care. I love you, Baba, and I'm so, so very grateful that you chose me, chose each one of us, and you reside in our hearts and have gifted us this serenity, unfluttering serenity in our hearts, knowing that difficulties, triumphs, possessions, health, disease, life, death is your divine King, and you are always forgiving, compassionate, dear Father. We love you, Baba. We love you, Baba. We love you, Baba. Please forgive us and show us the path to be of use to one another, to value this beautiful earth that you have created for us, to drop jealousy, greed, anger, and dissolve in you forever and ever and ever. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय, अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. Let's fold our hands, bow our head, and submit to the grace of our divine Meher Baba, who resides in all of us, and ask for forgiveness and show gratitude for everything He is and everything He gives us and everything He does. We'll slowly and gradually come back to this body, the temple of Baba's residence. We will look after this body, giving it tender care, because it is the gift of divinity of Baba to us. After going through so many stages, we have been able to arrive at this stage where we can feel, understand Baba's words. We value this body. We look after this body, mental and physical well-being, and enjoy the bounties of this world. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Whenever you feel ready and complete, you can rub your hands and put them on your eyes. And feel the warmth of Baba's love and kisses, as he would always kiss and hug his lovers when he was present in the body. We feel his warmth in our body. We feel his presence in our heart, and we feel him in our souls. Whenever ready, you may open your eyes. Thank you, Baba, for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amritaji.
Thank you, Namita.
Thank you, Namita. It was great.
Thank you.
beautiful experience. Thank you again. And all the questions have been put to rest, at least temporarily. So we will see when it bounces back in our heads. We'll get to it and try to answer them. Thank you again for hosting this meditation session. So this is in our journey of parts of meditation that we're anyway doing in Discourses. So we'll continue that journey. And more importantly, we'll pick up from where we left off, which is the section C of part 3, which is the divine theme in a short form. Right?
Yeah.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
This is such a lovely photo. My son got it for me from Mehrabad when he
Nice.
had his. Yeah. It's so Baba, you know. He's he's funny and he's like, about to do something.
Chuckle is there.
Yeah.
Chuckle is there.
Jai
Thank
Baba.
you very much.
Jai Baba.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Have a
Jai
good
Baba.
day to everyone.
You too, Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Likewise,
Good
likewise.
day.
Bye bye.
Good weekend. Yeah. Bye.
Hey, Baba.